Okay, Larry says we're good to go. These are my two hollowing tools. We're trying to figure out a way to, I did a hollow form, it's on a DVD. We're going to try to post it on the website. And what I did is I did it with this one right here. These hollowing tools are designed to do hollow forms 6-8 inches, not giant big ones. This is one that we did on the website. But this tickler here is what it used to set your wall thickness. The outrigger keeps you from having to fight the torque of it. I make them in two different configurations. This would be counterclockwise, this would be clockwise. This would be reverse on your lathe, this would be forward on your lathe. I do all mine in reverse. Once you look at the video, if we get that up there, you'll understand some of that. I use the same cutter for different positions in the, I just rotate it like this for the upper part of the hollow form, rotate it like that for this area down in here, and I rotate it like this to do the bottom, so I use the same tool for the whole process. That way it don't take me a lot of different tools. The other advantage of this with the outrigger is, and I covered this in the video, is that I can get real close to the hollow form because this takes up the torque. If you don't have an outrigger on there, then you're going to fight this. So you got to be this far away from the opening of your hollow form. You got to be kind of like this. I can be right up here because I have an outrigger here that takes care of that torque. Same way with the forward rotation, it does that. This spring here does set your wall thickness. It's kind of simpler. When I'm in here, when I'm inside like this, I can just look at that right there, and I can see what my wall thickness is all the way down. Right up here, I'd have to rotate the cutter towards the top of the hollow form a little bit. So I'd rotate it like this to do this part of the hollow form. Oh, I didn't tighten it up. It'd be like that to do that part of the hollow form. Down to about there, and I would rotate it about like this. I would do this part of the hollow form. And when I did the bottom, I'd rotate it so it's pointed down towards the bottom. That's how they're done. Okay, so this is the chalkboard part of the hollow form that we're going to put on the website. So what I did is I went in there and I drilled a hole all the way to the bottom. You'll see that when you see it on the video. And then what I did is I hollowed out here, hollowed out here, hollowed out here. And I got my wall thickness down to about here. But I left this wood right here. So I had my wall thickness right here. This line wasn't here at that time. That's still wood in there. So this is the way it looked in the bottom of this piece. And the reason I do this way is because what I've done, if I've established the bottom of my hollow form right here. Okay, and I have my wall thickness right here. So what I did in the bottom of this particular hollow form, I had that wood in there like that. The bottom is established, the wall thickness is established. So what I need to do is get rid of this wood. And what I did is I came back to here. And I went back and forth just like this. Just like this. This is the way I did that. I went back and forth just like this. So once I met this wall thickness and I met this bottom of the hollow form, then I have this wall thickness established right here. I don't even have to measure this. If I'm careful about where the bottom is, and right here, when I get out to here, I have my tickler pointed right here, and I know where the bottom is. That's how I did the inside of that hollow form. The other thing that you don't want to do when you're inside of one of these hollow forms is you don't want to have, when you're hollowing, it's like I said in the hollow form, you have to take the wood out where the wood needs to be taken out. You don't want to set yourself up with a kind of a thing like this. Where you're out here hollowing, you got all this wood in here. You're going to wind up hitting this area right in here. As you hollow this down until you get down, until you get down towards the bottom where I showed you. You want to keep this so that you are hollowing without a bunch of wood held up in here. In other words, you kind of want the shape more like this. That way you can come back and work this area, then you have to work this area. You have to keep this worked out all the way down. In other words, you got to work this area right in here, out to here. You don't want to come out here and you have a whole bunch of wood that you're running into, especially out here on the shoulder. If you got a bunch of wood out here, you're going to be hitting all this wood. You need to come back here and take this wood out as you go down. The other thing, people with, when you're doing hollow forms, I've got a couple cutters shown up here. This cutter right here is going to be very aggressive because it has a very long angle on it. This is not going to be near as aggressive. This is going to cut a little bit cleaner, but it's going to be very aggressive. So the farther you're over the tool rest, this is where you want to go. You want to lean towards this right here. You can bring that almost to 80 degrees, and it's going to be a lot less catchy and a lot less grabbier. This is going to give you a cleaner cut. It's going to be a lot harder to control. That's for any hollow form that you're doing. The farther you get over the tool rest, the more issues that you're going to have there. So that's just something to think about, the angles that you have on your cutter. Whether you're using a 3/16 cutter, whether you're using a scraper, whatever you're using. The farther you get over the tool rest, you want to come back closer to a 90-degree angle on the end of your cutter. And the one other thing I'm going to cover, but I got to get a hollowing tool. I'll be right back. Okay, so when you're hollowing with any hollowing tool, once you start to get over the tool rest with any hollowing tool, what's going to happen, you're going to start to load this cutting edge here. And if you notice, when I was inside there hollowing, I was cut a little bit and get back, cut a little bit and get back, cut a little bit and get off from it. But I stayed in contact with the wood all the way down, so I didn't come off the wood and come all the way back to it. But I would make a little cut and then relieve, make a little cut and relieve. What I'm doing, I'm unloading the hollowing tool. So in other words, this is going to be loaded, and when I come off from it, it comes back. If I stay loaded all the time, it's going to keep loading and loading and loading, and then I'm going to get to the point where, wow, I can't control this anymore, so I come back off from it. That's why when I was inside that hollow form hollowing, you see me in there, I was just making little cuts, load and unload, load and unload, load and unload. Then when I want to make a finishing cut, it's a lightly cut, you don't load the tool as much. So that's just something to think about when you're in there. You just don't want to sit in there and just keep right on a hogging. You kind of want to load it, unload, load it, and unload. I don't care whether it's a 1-inch bar or a 5-inch bar, or a 3/4 or a 5/8 bar. It's still going to load. You're going to take all the torque out of whatever's back there. If you get on it and get off, you'll be doing better. So that's the hollow form deal.